Today in the Cigar Lab, we're going to talk about taste. It's a matter of taste. And while we talk about that, we're going to smoke the Aladino Corojo Reserva, a great cigar with a lot of great taste. So it's a great one to match up with this episode. And I don't know about you, but I get tired of reading or listening to cigar reviews that talk about all kinds of different exotic things that the people tasting actually taste or experience while they're smoking their cigar, and I just sort of get lost and lose interest, and or maybe think I'm doing something wrong. Let me first start off by saying you're not doing something wrong. If you're smoking a cigar and you're enjoying that cigar, you're doing something right. But today we're going to talk about maybe how we can add to that experience and maybe enjoy that cigar a little bit more and take your journey with cigars a little bit deeper. And I've been smoking cigars for a little over 10 years, and hopefully I can share some things that maybe you haven't thought of before. And of course, we're always eager to hear from other viewers, and we can expand on our own knowledge together. First of all, it's said that there's only 4 main tastes or basic tastes or taste bud areas in our tongue. We've got sweet, the very tip, we've got salty at the sides, we've got sour a little bit further back, and then bitter all the way back. And then some people also maybe said that there's a 5th that's a meaty, you taste like a meaty taste in the middle. But really, that's the first thing you want to do. You want to sort of get that smoke into your mouth, let it sort of chew on a little bit, and taste the finish and see if you can pick out any sweetness, any saltiness, anything sour, which I doubt you're going to get, maybe some bitter in the taste buds. So, and the next thing is, since tasting is sort of multi-sensory, you want to actually do the same thing you do with food. You take a look at a nice dish, just the look of it, the smell of it. Before you even take that first bite, you've already started enjoying that dish. Well, the same thing's true with a cigar. Take a look at the cigar. It's a very nice looking Corojo wrapper. It's toothy. By that, you can tell what I mean by that. A little bit of a bumpiness. And then I'm going to sniff the foot. Get some aroma, see what that tobacco smells like. I'm getting a little bit of slight baking spice, some cinnamon, and some sweet tobacco so far. Next, I'm going to do what's called a pre-lit or pre-light draw. Once you get your cut, take a draw. That's when we're getting a little bit of a musty, cedary added to those other flavors. So now we're actually ready to toast it. Maybe you can start getting some aroma from the smoke. A little bit of a sweetness, a little bit of creaminess. Next thing I want to talk to you about, it maybe you haven't thought of before, haven't been sort of brave enough to try, is retrohaling. Is where you take that smoke in through your mouth and bring it out through your nose. Let me tell you what it's not. It is not inhaling. By retrohaling, you get the nasal passages involved and the olfactory senses, bringing the 2 senses together, the sense of taste and the sense of smell together in a way that maybe deepens you or enriches your experience there. Just stronger, getting a little bit of that baking spices, some slight cinnamon, some sweetness of the tobacco. You want to taste the tobacco on your tongue. It's called the finish. Don't be in a rush to take that next puff. And you sort of want to chew on the smoke to make, again, to coat that entire tongue. Very, not harsh at all, tobacco. You don't want to retrohale, maybe more than a couple times a cigar. That's not something you really want to do each puff. So those are some tips already, is to take some time before you actually light up to enjoy the cigar. Then once you light up, some things you can do, like chewing on the tobacco, smoking slowly, retrohaling. And then if you really want to start looking at, the best place I found to look is actually the Cigar's website. I would go to the Aladino website and see what they had to say about this cigar. And then I would try to see if I could pick out those same nuances. And if I can't, again, everyone's palate's different. Everyone's culinary experience and what they've tasted before is different, so don't worry if yours don't match. Let's see if you can pick out some of the keynotes that they've sort of tried to develop in that cigar. The second place you can look, the retail catalog. Anyone that sells cigars online and has a catalog, a hard copy catalog or a catalog, also will give some notes about that cigar. Start there. And if you're new, just try to pick out one thing. Don't try to get them all, or try those more exotic things. And next thing I would like to talk to you about is maybe trying to compare similar or familiar tastes you've had with what you're tasting in the cigar. Don't try to just move aside from those lists. See if there's anything that in the tobacco that reminds you of something you've eaten or smelled before. And again, if you don't come up with something that's your friends are getting the same things, or the so-called experts, don't worry about it. It's all about you enjoying the cigar and maybe picking out some things and taking your journey a little bit deeper. But what I did find is most of the tastes in a cigar fall into a couple of categories. I have 4. I'm going to share those categories, and I sort of use that as my fallback. The first one is spice. Pepper is the first spice you're going to notice in cigars. And some people can tell the difference between red and white pepper and black pepper. I really can't. I can just taste a black pepper in a lot of the tobacco, and I personally like a mild pepper hint to it or nuance to it. Some people like a real strong peppery taste to a cigar. That's a preference, but you should be able to pick out a little bit of pepper in most of your cigars. And I really only have 4 other spices that I can pick out. One is cinnamon, which I mentioned already in this, and also nutmeg, a little bit of nutmeg in the cigar. Cardamom, which is something that a lot of people put in a Turkish coffee, and also anise or licorice. So after spices, another category is sweetness. And with sweetness, some of the sweetnesses taste I can get is molasses, like a real dark, rich sweetness, and also brown sugar, toffee, dark chocolate or baking chocolate, milk chocolate, graham cracker, and then some creaminess. Those are the type of sweetness I get. Tobacco, if it's grown and harvested and then aged properly, has a lot of some natural sweetness to it, and that sweetness will come out in some of those familiar tastes that you may have. You have more to add to your list, but if you're smoking a cigar, if you're noticing some sweetness, you might be able to tell if that's sweetness, is familiar to you in a way of the molasses, brown sugar, toffee, dark chocolate, milk chocolate, graham cracker, or cream. And a third category talking too much, let my cigar go out, is plant or vegetal. Cedar is a lot of people notice notes of wood. Cedar is the most popular wood that people can notice in a cigar. This has a slight cedar to it. Those who are familiar with maybe the country boys have been out in the field and smell hay before and after it's cut. Might be some grass. If it's too grassy, that's probably a hint that it's not a good brand of tobacco, or it's not aged properly. Some nuttiness. Again, I have a hard time picking out the different kind of nuts. Maybe more like a cashew, and pistachio, that type of thing. But some people can actually pick out different kinds of nuts. You can get a little bit of nuttiness. In some cigars, you can get some citrus, maybe especially like an orange zest. Not too many other kind of citrus, but a little bit of citrus. And I've been able to pick out some dark or dried fruits like figs, raisins, plums, dark cherries. And some of the biggest things I can get is the cocoa or coffee bean. And obviously, if you can't smell the tobacco, if you're used to smelling tobacco, maybe in your younger days, the chewing tobacco, not the snuff, but the chewing regular side tobacco, you should be able to taste and smell some tobacco. Those are the three main categories. My fourth category I just call other. And in that other, I just threw a couple of things that I've been able to notice in the past when I smoke a cigar. One is charred meat. Some meatiness. And some I also call just a barnyard. It's just a real strong, earthy barnyard smell and aroma. And some mushrooms, same type of thing, that's coming from the ground. So you're going to get some things that are naturally grown in the ground. And then a toastiness, whether it's a toasted grain, toasted bread. Again, you notice less than about 25 items is what I have total in 4 different categories that I can pick out in a cigar. So start slow and put some things in the categories. Just try to find 1 or 2 things and then move on. It's not a race. You're going to be smoking cigars probably the rest of your life. Just keep adding on to the things that are different categories you can notice in a cigar. And I'd love to hear from you at the Cigar Lab with how you taste your cigars and maybe some of the most unique things you've heard being compared to a cigar taste or smell, aroma. But get in touch with us at the Cigar Lab. We'd love to hear from you. I'm smoking the Aladino Corojo Reserva, a very, very tasty cigar. And can get some cinnamon, some allspice, maybe some nutmeg. I do notice some cardamom, so the spices that I'm getting, it's not real peppery. I'm getting more of the cinnamon, nutmeg, cardamom, those type of things. The sweetness, not real dark chocolate, maybe a milk chocolate. The sweetness is not just a natural white sugar, maybe more of a brown sugar, molasses, and it's definitely creamy. And the plant, I'm getting a little bit of cedar. Not a real strong coffee. And I am getting a little bit of the charred meat. So that's what I'm getting in this Aladino. I didn't even look at the write-up on their website to try to compare and see if I got the same things. I'll do that after I'm done here. But I hope this has helped you smoke your cigars in a way that helps you enjoy the cigars and all the flavors that are found in that all natural product, handmade product, hand-grown product. Again, try this Aladino Corojo Reserva. Talk to you soon, everybody.